What's good, y'all? It's your boy Mike Sarge, and today I want to talk to you about why albums are dying, or if they're dead already. But before I do that, I gotta make sure I give a huge shout out to the sponsors of this video. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. So if you're interested in knowing more about them, be sure to go to the links in the description of this video. But y'all already know what it is, man. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and let's work. Salute to that. Alright, now listen, for those of you that were born before the year 2000, alright, I ain't taking no shots if you were born after, but look, for most of you that were before that time frame, you probably really love and appreciate albums. Why? Because albums weren't just a representation of good music. Albums represented a legacy. Matter of fact, let me put it this way. Artists that you've never heard of before, like their single, their song, whatever you heard on the radio, that definitely got your attention, no doubt. But once you found out that that artist had a classic album and you heard this album and you're like, yo, this is a classic, this is gonna go down forever, you became a fan for life. But the truth is, as you grow as an artist and as you get more and more involved, you realize that, man, people nowadays don't really care that much about albums. They really don't care how much time that you put in, you know, how much work you put in, how many hours that you put in into releasing really good music, into, you know, releasing a classic. It seems like they're only really concerned about the gems. What is the gem? Okay, a gem is that one song or one or two songs, you know, on a project in which you can play that bad boy forever. You listen to it everywhere. Y'all know what I'm talking about, man. Y'all wake up in the morning, you got that song as your ringtone, as your alarm to wake you up. Then when you eating breakfast, you listening to it. When you go work out, you listen to it. When you on the way to work in the car, you listening to it. On the way back from work, you listening to it. On your break time, you listening to it. As you cooking dinner and you whipping it up, you listening to it. That gem. That's what it seems like people are looking for. And it seems like now today that people are more focused on that in the form of singles. Singles seem to be the focus right now. And to be real with you, it's not a terrible thing. It's really not. Look, we live right now in a very single-oriented era. You know, people would just rather hear a new song that they've never heard before and then add it to their personal playlist, whether that's on their, you know, their Apple Music, their Spotify, their SoundCloud, whatever, just so they can listen to it wherever they go. Matter of fact, let me put it to you this way. Like my album, when it dropped, right, I had people at my job talking about it and they were coming back to me, giving me feedback and stuff like that, right? And I'm feeling myself, of course. But then there was this one particular person, right? I'll never forget. Her name is Shannon. And she said, well, you know, I thought it was pretty good, but if I had a recommendation, I would recommend not putting two slower songs on back to back on your album. And I'm thinking, wait, I didn't put two songs back to back that were slow. And I'm thinking about this, and then someone else in the office goes, wait, Shannon, did you put his album on shuffle? And she's like, yeah, of course I did. You did what?
That is blasphemous. That is blasphemous.
I'm gonna be real with y'all. This is the first time I've ever heard of this. I didn't know that people put albums on shuffle. Are you serious? Because in my head, I'm thinking from just experience, man, when you put an album on, you're trying to go from the start to the finish. You're trying to hear that story. You're trying to hear the interludes. You're trying to hear all that. And then as I went on throughout the rest of my day, talking to more and more people, I realized there are a lot more people putting albums on shuffle, putting EPs on shuffle, putting mixtapes on shuffle than I really realized. Now, I say all of that to say, back to the main question of why you're watching this video, does that mean that albums are dead? And if you're asking me my opinion, to be real, no. That doesn't really mean that albums are dead. It means the focus isn't on them as much, but I don't believe that means that albums are dead. Now, are sales down for albums? Absolutely. I can't deny that. That's true. But for me to sit here and act like there aren't tons of people that still love listening to albums and critiquing albums and reviewing albums, like, I think that would be false. And to say also that, albums no longer have value, I think that's just as false. To be honest with you, I've gotten to the point where I really think it has more to do with the fans than it does the type of project that it is. For example, people that are fans of my music, they love albums. They love albums. If anything, they get aggravated when I drop a single. Like, generally what ends up happening is I'll drop a single, and then not too long after, it could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks after the single drops, I already know what I'm gonna get.
Hey, bro. Hey, sorry, bro. Hey, when the project dropping, bro, when you dropping it, I need the facts when the release date, when that cover dropping, etc., etc.
So it really depends on your fan base. It really depends on your following. For you, it might be different. You might release singles here, an EP here, an album here, a mixtape here, and you might realize that, dang, like, my singles do a lot better than my albums. And if that's the case, definitely go where your audience is at. But again, to think that albums are dying just simply because they're streaming now, or just simply because sales are down, I think that's false. I think there are people out there, plenty of people out there, that listen to albums when they're on the plane, when they're on a road trip, where they're focused and they can pay attention to what the artist is talking about. And there are tons of people out there that still care about the art of music, and the art and the soul behind the music, and the soul and the thought process behind the artist. I think there's way too much of that. There's too many diehards to just say that the album is dead. So what do you guys think? Do you think albums are dead? Let me know in the comments on whether or not you think albums are dead or not. So what do you guys think about this video? Do you agree or do you disagree? Be sure to leave a comment at the bottom so I can get your thoughts on this. Also, be sure to go ahead and hit that like and that subscribe button. Man, you already know the deal. Be you, enjoy your life, and live authentic. Salutes to that, and I'll catch y'all later.